I see like 3, 4 niggas running through the crib, all black, mask on, running through the crib and shit. One nigga run to the front door. I hop out, I start shooting. Bow, 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 bow. Shot the nigga. Bow, shot his ass. Bow, 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 bow. All the niggas run out the door. They run out the door. This nigga on the floor.
The paper trail. Let's go, 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 go. Yeah, 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 yeah. For the love of money, niggas come around. For the love of money, some stay around. For the love of money, what a nigga will do for the love of the money. Yeah. I gotta shake it, 12 at night to 5 in the morning. They don't give a fuck now. If it's for that money, niggas gon' bark and they bite like a motherfucking dog. Gotta party like a motherfucking dog. For that cat, I am gon' roof and I'm barking at that cat, and I am gon' take the roof off when I'm riding that ride. Real leaning to the left, but I'm steady on the only right. I'm swerving with a purpose, A nigga been sipping on that purple. A nigga been cheaping on that purple. Cause I'm getting money, I'm getting money. Cause I'm getting money. And I'm living all the way to the motherfucking bank. And I'm telling her, tell me later if she thinking what I'm thinking. Damn me getting money. I woke up.
A Zionist Jew of German descent named Meyer Max Bennett was sent on a mission to Iraq by the Mossad. There, he connected with another Mossad agent, Yusuf Basri, and planned a series of attacks on Iraqi Jews, providing him with maps, instructions, and very specific orders to terrorize the Jewish population. From 1950 to 1951, a wave of bombings struck the Jewish community in Iraq. Cafes, mechanic shops, and synagogues were all targeted by grenades and TNT explosives. These attacks coincided with Have you ever heard this story before? In 1949, a Zionist Jew of German descent named Meyer Max Bennett was sent on a mission to Iraq by the Mossad. There, he connected with another Mossad agent, Yusuf Basri, and planned a series of attacks on Iraqi Jews, providing him with maps, instructions, and very specific orders to terrorize the Jewish population. From 1950 to 1951, a wave of bombings struck the Jewish community in Iraq. Cafes, mechanic shops, and synagogues were all targeted by grenades and TNT explosives. These attacks coincided with underground Zionist groups calling for Iraqi Jews to leave for Israel for their safety.
So basically, bang bang, WWE cage match. Last YACUBEAN stand and lose. You dumb bitches. So basically, these guys are going under the guise of somebody else. And they're going to commit crimes upon their own people in other countries to make it look like somebody else did it. Now, I don't know if people are being unalived in these events that they're creating in real time. They're creating real bombs, really blowing up shit. But it's their own people. So you left from your home country and went to somebody else's home country who practiced the same practice you practice, but you practicing on fucking up some shit and throwing the whole economy into a rage or uproar, keeping these people in the news, saying people are attacking them, people are doing this, that, and the third to these people. No, it's you motherfuckers doing it to you, to keep you motherfuckers in the news. Bitch, I'm only gonna take one slap in the face, bitch. I got two cheeks, bitch. I ain't turned the first one.
Safety. The wave of false flag terrorist attacks succeeded in forcing Iraqi Jews to migrate to Israel. Jews had lived in Iraq for thousands of years, but in just 2 years, nearly all 130,000 Iraqi Jews were gone. This forced exodus helped Israel with its demographic issues in the early stages of its existence, as it desperately needed Middle Eastern Jews to help shore up its population, since Ashkenazi Jews were not enough to compete demographically with the indigenous Palestinian population. These terrorist attacks on Iraqi Jews are just one example of a long list of Israel's use of false flag terrorist attacks to achieve its political goals. For his involvement in the terror attacks, Yusuf Basri was arrested by Iraqi police and later executed. Max Bennett, the German Jewish Mossad agent, managed to escape and later helped organize an even larger false flag terror attack in Egypt. In 1952, Bennett traveled to Egypt, again using his identity as a German businessman, and spent 2 years recruiting agents. This time, however, he presented himself as an innocent, harmless businessman doing God's work by producing equipment for the disabled. Wow, what an incredibly charitable and
Now, mind you, they always say that the bad ones are always from Germany. Huh? Huh? Now, mind you, Germany didn't become Germany until after 1870s. There was no Germany before 1870s. It was always called Prussia, according to their history also. So this Germany thing is something new also. Hold on, let me say that again. I might have been under the mic. Let me make sure I'm back at the mic. WWE cage match. Last YACUBEAN stand and lose. That's bang bang. So basically, what's going on here is Germany is always at the center of being the bad guy Jew. Let's just be honest. When something bad happens, they say it was an undercover German Jew that did it. So now, mind you, got different sects of these said people that they're calling Jews, but they're some of them are German Jews. Like some of them are gonna be what you call it, Yemen Jews. Let's say Somali Jews. So they're saying that these people got spread due to explosion or being trapped, human trapping, like trapping the humans, like pimping them out all over the world. Somebody was trapping out these said people. And then over time, somebody gets mad at these set of people. And they just so happen to be these Jewish set of people that we're talking about. So we got to talk about it. These people are always in a war. We're talking about it. You know why? WWE cage match. The last YACUBEAN standing lows. That's bang bang. So, okay, my guy went over there to Iraq. Now they say, shit, man, them Jews been over there since them Jews been over there, huh? Huh? So how all of them come from the same spot? Supposedly supposed to be where they are now in Israel. And the only way you can prove that these are the Jews of the Bible is to go by the Bible. Otherwise, you have no way of proving that the people that say they're Jews are even Jews anyway. And that book is just not a book full of characters. And if it is real, we need facts to say that this is Israel. We need to see all that. Like lay it out. Otherwise, it is just a belief. It's a belief. It hadn't been really proven. Otherwise, people wouldn't be debating it. And this is the land of free speech here in America. These are my opinions. Everything I say is an opinion. Now, unless you can prove it as fact. But what I'm saying is just my opinion. And my opinion is this is a script. From the Bible to the politics, it's all part of one script. The foundation, again, is the Federal Reserve System that is allowing those two items I just named to run amok. And all of it is built off of a belief system. Who's going to believe in my system rather than your system? Belief system. Basically, that's the foundation. Now, we can take it so many different ways from here. Again, this is an invisible God fight. Let these invisible gods fight. Invisible gods that got all this power don't need your hands to do their bidding. If that's what it is, be the ultimate believer and sit the fuck back. Huh? You'll find out. No, 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 it's human hands in it. And they can create the story and make you a believer. Well, hey. Ain't nobody making me shit. I ain't a spectator. And I ain't on the stage. I'm breaking down this madness in my opinionated ways. And the videos that I play on, absolutely, their opinions as well too. Not unless you can prove them to be facts. Facts. But right now we got a rogue German agent undercover, knock, NOC, huh? Keep switching his identities. So seems like this Jewish thing is more so a fraternity where we all one, no matter where you at. It ain't about bloodline. They can say that the mom is tied into something, but again, that's something recent. They can say that they're tied back in like thousands of years ago. You can't prove that. Now I get on here and I be talking a lot of smack, but I got milk for that cereal. If we talking smack, bitch. Right now I'm in review mode, but I got facts on the back of the stacks, bitch. And I'll bring them out. Bring them out. Yeah. But right now, we selling the cool stuff. Who the fuck are these people that we done put at the top of the pedestal? Yeah, yeah, yeah. We done creme de la creme them, huh? Because they got the power of money and the political seat backing. Whew. Well, well, I got on my hiking boots today. And I don't mind doing some backpacking and hiking.
Generous man, dedicating his life to helping the disabled. In reality, he was setting up Operation Susanna, a false flag operation in which Jews would plant bombs into American and British-owned civilian targets like cinemas, libraries, and American educational centers. The intention was to blame the Muslim Brotherhood and Egyptian communists for the attacks, with the hope that the violence would force British troops occupying the Suez Canal to remain in place instead of handing over control to Egyptian forces. Just like in Iraq, Israel gave the go-ahead for its agents to carry out these terror attacks. Explosions rocked Alexandria and Cairo, but the operation fell short of its intended scope of damage when one of the agents flipped and informed Egyptian authorities. Egyptian authorities then went on to catch one Jewish agent in the act while he was attempting to bomb the British-owned Rio Theater in Cairo. As a result, Egyptian intelligence arrested several undercover Jewish agents, including Max Bennett. When it became clear that he would be executed for his involvement, Bennett committed suicide. The failed operation later became known as the infamous Lavon Affair. Israel denied any involvement in the Egyptian and Iraqi false flag terror attacks, but was later exposed. First in 2005, when the Israeli president awarded surviving agents from the Lavon Affair certificates of appreciation. And again in 2023, when British-Israeli historian Avi Schleim spoke directly to a Jewish agent who had been part of the Zionist underground in Baghdad and who provided evidence that Israel was behind the attacks on Iraqi Jews. There are numerous reports of false flag operations over the decades serving Israel's interests, including direct and indirect involvement in terrorist attacks. This history alone is enough to justify speculative claims about more recent or even modern attacks being Israeli false flags. Not only is there the Israeli connection to 9/11, but just a month later, on October 10th, 2001, two Israelis were caught with Pakistani passports, grenades, explosives, and guns inside the Mexican parliament just moments before trying to carry out a massive terrorist attack on Mexican officials. Their intention, of course, was to blame it on Muslims in a climate that was already incredibly paranoid and fearful of Islam. The Israeli government rushed to help impose a media blackout on the failed plot and pressured the Mexican government to quietly release their Jewish agents. The media blackout is one of the reasons why you've never heard of this operation before, but we know about it because Mexican newspapers at the time covered it in detail. And just this year, in February of 2025, an explosion destroyed 3 buses in Bat Yam in occupied Palestine. Israeli authorities claimed that 2 Palestinian terrorists had carried out the attack. Zionists went into a frenzy, calling Palestinians terrorists for attempting to kill civilians at a time when they were actively committing genocide in Gaza. However, as soon as it was revealed that it was actually 2 Jewish Israelis who had planted the bombs and detonated them, the government ordered a blackout and all reporting on the case was shut down. Israeli false flags don't always have to actually include violence. Sometimes, just the threat of it is enough. During Trump's first term, thousands of bomb threats were called into Jewish communities in the United States and around the world. Threats that the ADL and other groups used as evidence that anti-Semitism was on the rise. It later turned out, however, that every single one of these threats was made by a Jewish American Israeli. A Jewish American Israeli teenager arrested for making 2,000 anti-Semitic bomb threats against Jewish communities.
अरे मोदी ये ले मेरा जवाब कैसा लगा कब तक जाता कमाई को ट्रम्प ये मेरी किक मेरी शक्ल ये इलीगल किक है सब हमारे आज के विनर ट्रम्प हैं
So you mean to tell me that the way these guys stay on top, to stay in the news is actually a good thing? Huh? You mean to tell me they got the shotgun, bang bang, shooting double shots, shooting they goddamn self, and not only are they the kamikaze in this motherfucking crime, the motherfuckers are also calling the cops on themselves. You can't make this shit up. Well, you can, but they already made it up, so that would be plagiarization. You can't make this shit up. Yeah. Stay relevant by making yourself relevant by any means necessary. Huh? By any means necessary. What would make these people go so hard to stay so relevant? They must have went through something greater, huh? They must have went through something greater, huh? They must know something we don't know, huh? To for people to act like this, they're not directly like they can't directly. I'm gonna let you know right now. In my opinion, they could never. These type of people could have never. These people could have never. Not millions upon millions of them could have never went to Africa, snatched up people, took them to the Caribbeans, and later then they got sold there, and then they got boated to the Americas. No, these people are the type of people that rule from afar, like right now. This is something they could have only done in the 1900s. You need money to be able to rule like they're ruling. And it took money, everybody being under their money. Again, before 1913, there was multiple different banks, local banks that people did themselves. It was the central banking system that made everybody under this eugenics banking system, this social construct system that we're under. I mean, we got to be real. We got to throw this whole colorism out of the window at this point. You got to go by who was actually on those lands first, and you can't use the Bible to say that you actually own the land because the Bible is still fiction. Is fictional, so you can't use that as a history book. Not unless you can find me every grave of every person within that Bible. Yeah. And the lands that go with it, because somewhere there has to be a burial site, right? Huh? You got all these Egyptian people that are being found in fucking caves and shit, but nobody from the biblical narrative has grave sites. You got Egyptians 5,000-year-old tombs that you done found. And study finding them motherfuckers. I'm gonna need you to find a piece of a garment that leads to a body, that leads to a few different. Because you said these these people were enslaved everywhere they went. Like, so you're telling me that these people that are now ruling everybody was once the main slave within that story. So I have to believe that as well. Slaves ain't got no goddamn paper trail, huh? Slaves got paper trails, huh? Cause I'm on the paper trail. Let's go. Let's go. Go, go.
of attempting to extort a Republican senator who spoke out against the hoax bomb threats. The teen went so far as to order drugs to the senator's home while threatening to release allegedly incriminating photos, according to a Justice Ministry spokesperson. And he wasn't just targeting American institutions. 561 out of the 2,000 calls were made to Australian Jewish community centers and schools. Speaking of Australia, there have been a number of absurd false flag attacks over the last 2 years. There is very strong reason to believe that the Zionists themselves are responsible for these terror attacks in an attempt to portray themselves as victims while their beloved Jewish colonial apartheid state commits genocide in Gaza. In one case, a Zionist entered a Muslim-owned cafe wearing a Star of David, accompanied by an undercover journalist from the Telegraph attempting to bait the owners into kicking him out for his Jewish identity.
A man wearing a Star of David cap walks in and orders a hibiscus tea. Seconds later, a senior journalist from the Daily Telegraph enters with her photographer and allegedly asks the same female server, "Have you got a problem with the man with the white cap?" She says, "Why would I have a problem?" It was all part of a stunt planned by the Daily Telegraph, allegedly called Undercover Operation.
In another case, Zionists recruited two crackheads desperate for money to spray "Kill the Jews" onto a car before firebombing it. People who knew the two crackheads claimed that they had never ever mentioned Israel or Palestine and had zero interest in geopolitics. They also tried to spray paint Israel on the car, but misspelled it. A number of arson attacks also took place at synagogues and restaurants, leading Australian officials to initially deem them as anti-Semitic terror attacks. After investigations, however, authorities determined that puppet masters were using the dark web to contact people desperate for money and offered them cryptocurrency in order to carry out the attacks. Now, Israel claims that it assisted Australia during the course of the investigations and determined that Iran was behind the attacks. Of course, they never provided any evidence of this, and it's far more likely that Israel itself orchestrated these attacks, as it has orchestrated many others before, and then pressured the Australian government to blame it on Iran. Now, with the recent attacks at Bondi Beach, the internet is ablaze with claims of it being a false flag. Naturally, of course, the Zionists are calling these claims anti-Semitic, but the reality is that their long documented history of carrying out or threatening these terror attacks has made the public deeply distrustful. And you know what? It's their own fault. Not only because historically they have been guilty of these actions, but because the Mossad openly brags about their violence, terror, and trickery on television.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
Its motto from Proverbs 24:6 says in so many words, wage war through deception and trickery.
Now, this is just scratching the surface of the undercover false flag terrorism that Zionists are guilty of. What they've done could probably fill a Peter Jackson-directed extended cut trilogy. The takeaway from all of this is very simple. These people are evil with too many schemes and plots to count. People have noticed, and they're not buying it anymore. It's the classic tale of the boy who cried wolf. A shepherd repeatedly tricks villagers into believing that a wolf is attacking his flock. When a real wolf finally appears, however, and the boy cries for help, the villagers dismiss it as another lie, allowing the wolf to devour the sheep. Now, I don't think we need to run around calling everything an Israeli false flag. I think it's enough to simply expose their long, well-documented history of these terror attacks and trickery. After that, people can simply trust their instincts. And I think that's what's happening right now. Maybe that's why people see this and dismiss it entirely as just another piece of performative propaganda by a professional crisis actor. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section. I want to give a very special shout out to my propaganda.
Hello, it's your friend CJ Werleman, and in this episode, we show how global hatred of Israel has reached unprecedented heights, resulting in the mass deportation of Israeli tourists from an ever-increasing number of countries. But first, please remember to like and subscribe to our show, and don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss a single episode. Now, let's get into it. In a recent article for Patreon members, I explain why anti-American and anti-Israel attitudes around the world have soared to record levels, with a new survey showing that a clear majority of people in 24 countries now hold a negative view towards both countries. As Israel falls to dead last place in the Global Nation Brands Index for the second year in a row, for the simple reason that everyone now hates the Zionist state and the Zionist ideology, including a clear majority of Americans who now favor Palestinians over the Jewish state for the first time in US history. But what really stands out in this data is that growing American hostility towards Israel now aligns with attitudes long held towards Israel in the Arab world, with both Americans and Arabs opposing US support for Israel, opposing US support for authoritarian regimes in the Middle East, and opposing US
Yo, get it right. We Aboriginals of the Americas don't give one fuck about y'all fighting each other. We not on either of your sides. Just to make that clear. Yeah, we Americans. We stand for America. We're not no United States citizens. We've been here. That shit came later. We partake in the whatnots of the United States because they're on our land. They've changed our history. But mentally, we ain't on either of your sides. We trying to make sure our history get told the right way. Our story gets out there. So we ain't worried about you motherfuckers trying to get rid of your ammunition so you can build bigger and better uh, equipment. That's what's going to happen. You're getting rid of all this old stuff. Now you got all this new technology. You want to build new technology equipment to do this all over again with the new technology. It's an exhibition. It's a WWE match. Last of YACUBEAN stand and lose. Dumb bitch. We don't want no part of it. There's some stuff that go way back. 1913 to be exact. Don't make me bring out the obsidian blade. And get this. Everybody else is starting to see the bigger picture also. Otherwise, you wouldn't have people already out there whose videos I can review that have done the research also. That are leading to the same fact that this is a stage play. Not only are we are saying that this is a stage play, but you guys are also saying it in your speeches. So how could you write a 10-minute speech, an hour-long speech, and go from city to city to talk about a a fight, a a firecracker match? Like, just think about it. If you go to 30 cities and you talk about the same firecracker match and the same boxing match over and over again, you don't think that your mindset sets into being the most evil as you could be to become a winner? I mean, when you were in a battle, you want to be the winner. You don't want to be the loser. Casualties. You blanking on a million. You blanking on them. You blank out. You can't see casualties. Even if you started it. Even if everybody you in this match with is your buddies and y'all just testing y'all equipment and you can resurface as a different person, don't worry. We just want to make sure everything is working right in case they get out of line. Talking about the public, get out of line. Let them know what we could do. I don't care if they know the truth. So what? Just show them that we got what it takes to shut them the fuck up and sit them the fuck down. Bitch, we'll put you in the ghetto. 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 Got you in the ghetto. 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 All in the ghetto. 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 Got you in the
military attacks and sanctions against Arab countries. What the world especially hates is American and Israeli hypocrisy towards democracy and human rights, which they claim to champion while committing genocide in Gaza and Sudan and bombing 9 countries in a single year.
This war caused a historic shift in public opinion on how Americans view the Middle East conflict. What are we talking about here? Who voters sympathize more with, the Israelis or the Palestinians? Back in October of 2023, it was the Israelis by 48 points. Look at this shift. Now we're talking about the Palestinians by a point. I looked back at every single poll that I could possibly find since this question was first asked in the 1980s. This is the first time ever in which the Palestinians had any sort of lead on this particular question. It is very clear that this war caused a historic shift away from the Israeli position in the Middle East conflict and towards the Palestinians when it comes to who Americans and voters sympathize with.
Separating people from the actions of their government is a core principle in political science, human rights, and international law, because doing so ensures accountability while protecting individual liberty. A notion I support wholeheartedly, albeit with one notable exception: the State of Israel. Mostly because it's impossible to separate the criminal psychopathy of Benjamin Netanyahu from the collective psychopathy of the general Israeli population. Given 8 out of 10 Israelis support genocide and ethnic cleansing in the Palestinian territories, and with a similar majority supporting Israel's wars of aggression against the entire region, Zionism has reached a point where Israeli rabbis now openly endorse genocide.
כל אחד מאיתנו, אם אתה אזרח, אם אתה חייל, אם אתה שוטר, אם אתה איש שב"כ ואיש מוסד, לא משנה מה אתה. אם אתה רואה אותם, יש לך איזה תירוץ חוקי הכי קטן שבעולם, גמור עליהם 2 מחסניות, לא אחת.
The world is fed up with Israel, and it's fed up with Western governments doing nothing to rein in and halt its crimes against humanity. People demand action, and thankfully, a growing list of countries is heeding the call by proposing and enacting laws that either punish the Israeli government and/or Israeli citizens. Here, Romanians take to the streets in Bucharest, demanding their government end Zionist influence in national politics and ban or deport Israeli tourists, a call that's being echoed in South America, where Chilean officials demand a total ban on Israeli tourists, citing popular Israeli support for the genocide of Palestinians. There's just no denying that the call to ban Israelis has grown in size and intensity since we aired this episode 12 months ago, in which we revealed why several Asian countries have banned Israelis, including the Maldives and North Korea, with the latter going so far as to mandate the death penalty for anyone who promotes the Zionist ideology. But while Pyongyang might not be a popular destination for ordinary Israelis or anyone else for that matter, the same can't be said for Thailand, which attracts roughly 4% of the total Israeli population each and every year, bringing with them substantial economic benefits to the Thai economy.
Thank you. You are not welcome here. I'm sorry, but your money, but my money, okay, build your country. Oh, wow. Okay, keep that.
Her demeaning and insulting words went viral on social media before causing a backlash from Thai business owners who accuse Israeli tourists of operating illegal businesses and stealing jobs from locals while engaging in all kinds of illegal activities, prompting Thais to claim they're illegally occupied by Zionists.
Israeli tourists in Thailand are being slammed on TikTok for their behavior. Locals describe them as rude and difficult and are posting
and peace and the abundance of nature. Now the energy has completely shifted, and it has a lot to do with who's here. This town is completely overrun with Israelis. I'm talking 3-to-1 ratio with locals and other tourists included. And of course, they bring their sense of entitlement with them everywhere they go. Literally everybody is sick of them, the locals and other tourists.
We've seen as
What in the ghetto? Fabulous acting is going down here. Are you saying that these people have no home training that are in all these other countries under this identity? What is going down here? Why would you have such an opinion? What is going on here? What in the ghetto? What in the WWE cage match? Last YACUBEAN stand and lose. Bang, bang.
reported for menacing the local population working illegally and carrying out drunken and violent raids on Thai hospitals. This atrocious behavior is being replicated wherever Israelis travel, a reality that even Jewish publications acknowledge to be true, saying, from Cyprus to Turkey, through Thailand, Peru, the United Kingdom, India, and many other destinations, the bad reputation of Israelis almost always catches up with them. So much so that they are ranked among the worst tourists in the world, a sentiment that the South Asian nation of Sri Lanka knows all too well, with locals claiming their livelihoods are being threatened by IDF soldiers who participated in the Gaza genocide.
Locals in Arugambe, Sri Lanka are used to a quiet life of fishing and surfing. But lately, parts of their town are being taken over. Fearing reprisals, they agree to speak only on condition of anonymity.
Well, I've been coming to Arugambe for quite a long time. And Arugambe has been known to be this sleepy little fishing village that people come to surf. Today, it's like Tel Aviv.
Residents also say this beach town has become a rest and recovery stop for Israeli soldiers returning from Gaza.
Quite often you'll see military boots being worn when they travel.
Locals say their livelihoods are under threat from Israelis working on tourist visas and running businesses without permits.
And I like to emphasize they're not big spenders. They're big takers from us. They take our business away. There's lots of businesses running without any sort of paperwork.
There are unconfirmed reports that China has banned Israeli tourists in response to Israel attacking its ally, Iran. And there are also unconfirmed reports that Russia plans to deport Israeli citizens to punish the United States and Israel for ousting Putin's ally in Venezuela. Russia also sent a message to Israel when it recently deported 15 Israelis from Moscow, a message that was also heard loud and clear by the general Russian population.
A crowd of hundreds breached the defenses of Dagestan's main airport. Once inside, the men were free to move. The only apparent resistance, locked doors as they searched for Israeli passengers. Reportedly answering a call posted on the Telegram messaging app to avenge Gaza. There are no Israelis here, says a member of the airport staff. Now they were looking for the plane itself, recently landed from Tel Aviv. Passengers on one aircraft scrambling back on board as the rioters converged on the Russian-owned Red Wings jet, some clambering onto it.
ट्रम्प ये मेरी किक मेरी शक्ल ये इलीगल किक है सब देता
Onto it.
Obviously, this program doesn't condone the kind.
And let me say, I don't condone any violence either. And everything I say on this absolutely commentary page here, it's all my opinion. Not unless you can prove it to be fact. then that is on you. Bang, bang.
Doesn't condone the kind of lynch mob behaviour, but vigilante violence is what happens when governments do nothing to fix a moral injustice. But more to the point, what happened in Russia is also happening in any number of countries that have grown fed up with the genocidal acts of the Israeli government, which until now have gone totally unpunished, leaving states, corporations and individuals to take matters into their own hands by boycotting anything or anyone with ties to the Zionist state. In other words, people are voting with their wallets as hotels across the world are either evicting Israeli tourists or denying them accommodation to send an unmistakable message to the Israeli government that genocide, racism, and apartheid will not go unpunished. Last month, the African nation of Ghana deported Israeli tourists in response to the racist immigration policies of the Zionist regime.
And we end the show with a tit-for-tat diplomacy move from Ghana. The country has deported 3 Israeli nationals who landed in Accra on Wednesday. They say they've been compelled to retaliate over what Israel started. Ghanaian authorities have stated this move is a direct response to the alleged mistreatment of Ghanaian travellers in Tel Aviv. Earlier this month, 7 Ghanaians were detained at Israel's Ben Gurion airport. 4 of them were staff from the parliamentary service attending a cybersecurity conference. Accra says their citizens were held for 5
Now, peep play now. Peep the play. Remember, they're still playing chess with this game here. Because at the forefront of these are still God's people to a lot of people. And this is now all of the Islam practicing people are banning some Israelites from coming to their country. Just some, it's not all of them. So it's still a battle of invisible creator versus invisible creator. At the end of what they talking, it's still invisible creator versus invisible creator. So it looks like a bunch of countries that practice Islam. It's just saying, hey, no Israelis or Israel citizens can actually come here for right now until this passes over. Maybe you don't think like that, but we want to make sure we don't get you guys hurt by coming here, which is what they're doing right now is a divide and conquer play. Pay attention, watch the chess move, be ready, at least 5 steps ahead, even when the game starts.
hours without a justifiable explanation.
Israel is so racist towards Africans that it refers to Ethiopian Jews as an African menace or demographic death sentence, one that threatens Israel's white European DNA. This racist ambition is why the Israeli government not only violates the country's constitutionally mandated law of return in denying citizenship to Ethiopian Jews, but also it illegally and forcibly sterilized African migrants who successfully migrated to Israel in decades past, as I reported in his 2018 article for The New Arab.
We say Jewish state, what we mean is the national state of the Jewish people. But if Jews want to come here, any Jew, they're welcome. We embrace them.
Israel touts itself as the only safe haven and protector of all Jews. That is, unless you're black. In 2012, Israeli journalist Gal Gabay set out to discover why the birth rate among Ethiopian immigrants had plummeted by nearly 50% over the previous decade. What she ended up uncovering was a troubling web of deceit, lies, and systematic racism against Ethiopian Jewish women. Gabay's investigation revealed that Ethiopian women immigrating to Israel were being injected with a long-acting contraceptive, without their knowledge or consent. These injections, administered every 3 months while the women were still in transit camps in Ethiopia, continued after their arrival to Israel. Some women claimed they were threatened by Israeli doctors who told them they wouldn't be allowed to immigrate if they refused the injection, while others were simply told they were receiving a vaccine and given no details on the side effects.
On the other side of the South Atlantic Ocean, vacationing Israeli soldiers are accused of deliberately starting a series of fires that are sweeping across Patagonia in southern Argentina.
Lo que más te duele es el alma y el corazón cuando ves a la gente que se quedó sin nada.
Bang, bang. Ain't that the same play as eugenics? Same chessboard, same pieces, same rules to the game.
Los animales muertos. Este lugar para nosotros es el paraíso y nos quemaron el paraíso, loco. Nos dejaron arruinar todo. Y acá lo que pasa es que están queriendo venderle la Patagonia a todos los judíos, loco, es un montón. Acá el mundo es israelita, está todo el mundo comprando la tierra, nadie hace nada y la única gente que pone el pecho es la gente que perdió todo. Acá nos dejaron solos.
This place is crawling with Israelis? Is that true? Another news report from Argentina caught our eye. We seem to learn here that grenades found in the burned up areas of Patagonia are Israeli made.
Even without threats of deportation, we can expect to see fewer Israeli tourists in foreign destinations, given every Israeli citizen of military age is potentially on the hook for committing war crimes, which is why the Israeli government warns its citizens against traveling abroad.
Israel Defense Forces warning soldiers and officers who fought in Gaza to avoid traveling abroad after groups filed complaints against them for alleged war crimes. That is according to a report by Ynet. In 8
You work for play in the house for a secular guy.
This is Curious Joel.
You're a Yiddish.
A village of 44,000 Hasidic Jews in upstate New York that primarily speak Yiddish have an average of 7 kids per family. How many kids do most people have out here?
17, 18.
How do they afford 17, 18 kids? It's one of the poorest towns in America, with 40% living beneath the federal poverty line. Many men here are religiously studying the Torah full-time and heavily rely on public assistance and welfare in the form of Medicaid, housing vouchers, food stamps, and cash aid to support their giant families that God commanded them to have. And the village enforces strict gender roles, modest dress codes, and sends their kids to private religious schools. And why is it okay for Jewish people to live together in a homogenous Jew-only community, but it's illegal when white people try to build their own? I pulled up the Curious Joel myself to see what's going on. Welcome to Curious Joel, a traditional community of honesty and values. To keep up with our traditions and religious customs, we kindly ask that you dress and behave in a modest way while visiting our community. This includes wearing long skirts or pants, covered necklines, sleeves past the elbow, use appropriate language,
Curious Joel say he curious about. So we got a white person, himself calling himself a white person, questioning the Jewish having their own lifestyle. He's like, hold up, player. You cannot make this shit up. Curious, you got me curious too, bruh. I'm curious as to why you're mad at him. Because they're having 19 kids. And they go to work to study the Bible, which ain't a job. So you need welfare to take care of them kids you done made. Kids Joel said, hold up, player.
maintain gender separation in all public areas. Thank you for respecting our values. Let's pop in here and say shalom. Lots of people praying. Hi. Shalom. Okay, so it says entrance for members only. Not sure what it takes to be a member. What does it take to be a member? Do I have to be Jewish center? Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the schedule exactly, but 9 o'clock sharp, they're not at work. Okay, so I guess everyone's praying right now. So you got to wonder what these people do for employment. You'll notice the Mexicans out here are doing the hard labor, and the Jewish people, I'm not sure what they do. Maybe we can ask this guy. Excuse me. What do most people do for work out here? You don't know? All right, cold shoulder. Question for you, sir. How long do people pray per day? Okay, what do people do for work?
I'm not
Okay, what do you do for work? Okay, you don't want to talk? How many hours a day do they pray?
3 hours a day.
Do people have 9 to 5s?
Yes.
Like what industries are they involved in here?
Construction or other type of industries.
And what do you do?
I'm a student and also I'm doing home care.
What are you studying?
I'm studying Torah.
Torah?
Yes.
How old are you?
Our holy Torah.
And who pays for education?
I try to work on overtime.
Overtime?
Yes.
Where do you work overtime?
I work home care.
Home care?
Night, yes.
Is it like, do you have kids?
I have kids, yes.
How many kids?
3.
How do you afford to raise 3 kids while being a student?
Because I work very hard. I want to study the Torah. I'm very proud.
How do you afford to study the Torah, though?
God help me.
Does the American taxpayer help you too?
Also, yes.
Yeah. How many people out here are on like welfare in the form of like housing assistance or Section 8 or EBT, SNAP, Medicare?
Yes.
And that allows you to study the Torah?
Yes.
And raise your kids?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
How many kids do most people have out here?
17, 18.
How do they afford 17, 18 kids?
They are proud to do what the Torah says, that you need to be multiple and fruitful.
Wow. And do you think there's welfare abuse in the community out here?
No.
No? Because they actually have the kids?
Yes.
They have the kids. Do they get tax credits for the kids?
What they get, but they are all doing to keep our Torah, yes.
Keep the Torah?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on people out there who can barely afford to have 1 kid?
If they want, they can have 1. But if God's given them more, it's very proud.
Okay, shout out God.
Yes.
Okay.
One thing, we are very against the state of Israel. It's a very big problem for us.
So you guys don't approve of a state of Israel before the Messiah comes, right?
Yes. Zionism is not Judaism. It's a very other thing.
Question for you, sir. What do you do for work out here? Are you on the phone? Or are you listening to the radio? Okay. Damn, it's tough to get some answers out of folks. What do you do for work?
Nothing.
How do you make money?
My wife.
Your wife? What does she do for work?
What is this for?
Interview. Good to meet you. For YouTube. So your wife works and do you study the Torah?
Have a good day.
How many kids do you have?
Have a good day.
How many children do you have? Okay, thank you. Well, that was fascinating. Excuse me. Do you study Torah? Do you have a job? Does your wife work? Are you a student of the Torah?
Yes.
Do you work a job for money?
I?
Yeah.
No.
Does your wife?
Yes.
She does. Does your wife go to work to make money and you study Torah?
Where are you?
Tyler. Good to meet you. I'm just doing a YouTube video about this place. I find it fascinating.
I don't have time. I have to work.
But where are you going if you don't work?
I study.
You study. And does your wife work? What industry does she work in? Teaching, education, children? And how do you afford the kids if you don't work?
My wife.
Your wife? Okay, thank you. Sounds like a great setup. Damn, I might have to get in on that. Excuse me, what do women work at here? What jobs do women work in here? Is it mostly childcare? Okay, cold shoulder. Do you work a job as well as raise the kids? Do the women raise the kids in? Okay, tough to talk to the women out here. How do people afford to have families? So like as you raise baby, do you also go to work at some point? What do you do for work? Do you study the Torah for a living? Do you study the Torah? Do you work a job? No? Does your wife work a job? Are you a student? Do you work? Are you a student? Man, I can't do this anymore. Question for you. Do you study Torah? Do you study the Torah? Excuse me, sir. Do you study the Torah? Hey. Oh, you speak on his behalf? How do you know that? Get on out of here. He said he doesn't want to give an interview. How would he know? Do they communicate telepathically via hive mind? Hi. Tyler, yes. How are you, my friend? How are you doing? Yes.
Wow.
How are you?
It's
You want to say hi?
Independent journalist.
Yes.
Lucy, you want to say hi? No.
Okay, how are you doing?
Hey, shit, this
Do you want to tell me a little bit about this place?
Sure, we grew up here.
Okay.
It's a very nice place.
Yeah, and it's mostly Hasidic Jews?
Yes,
Okay.
it's only Hasidic Jews.
And it's
here.
one of the most biggest growing towns,
Big
right? By
growing town.
percentage?
It's the biggest in the
Big
United-
families, too.
Big families, right?
How do people afford to have such big families out here?
It's. I'm not saying anything.
What do you mean? How do they have such big families?
You believe in God, that
Believe in
God
God?
created that.
Okay. Hey, thanks for saying hi, my friend.
I don't know who you are.
My name's Tyler Oliveira.
I don't talk to a suspicious person.
How am I suspicious?
I don't know who you are.
Damn, ouch, that hurt my feelings. Do you study Torah? Or do you work a job or own business?
Everybody here works a job.
Well, that's not true. What's up?
They have Torah and they work.
That's not true. That's a lie. That's not true.
Suspicious person.
That's not true. I've talked to people. They said some of them just study the Torah. They told me themselves.
Well,
So who's the liar? I understand that. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know who you are.
I'm just asking questions. How many children do you have?
You work for Hamas?
What? I'm a journalist. I'm just exploring. YouTube vlogger. I don't work for Hamas. He said, do you work for Hamas? What? Okay, so this is the most beautiful $10 million synagogue right here. It's quite nice. Let's see if anyone wants to talk. Hello. Are most people here rabbis? 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 Are you guys rabbis?
No.
Okay.
What?
Do most of them work?
Man, this shit is so hilarious. Curious George said, "Hold up, player. The fuck y'all do all day, man? Is that my tax dollars? Hold up, slow down, Tito. Damn. Is that my bitch standing on the car? You mean to tell me I went to work for your ass today? What? Now tell me, what have you learned about the Torah today? You 55-year-old student. your boy said, "Is that my tax dollar?" Say, split the 13th page in that book, all of it, motherfucker. Your boy said, "Man, stop lying. You ain't been to work today." And where in the fuck did you get that suit from? Huh? How you been for that haircut? He said, "Hold up." He's sizing them up too. Hold up, player. And them shoes are shiny. Your boy Curious Joy said, "Bitch, I'm just curious today. What the fuck? I done came all the way over here. I want some answers." He said, "Hold up, bitch. Who you work for, man? You only going to church." Who you work for in the church? If all y'all work for the church, who the fuck kind of congregation? I ain't seen not one congregation member here. How you getting this money? Y'all done built the whole goddamn city over here. And it's growing. Yes, that is because we have 92 kids with no job. He said, "It's just welfare." He said, "I know." You cannot make this shit up, bro. We can't make it up because they done already made it up. If we make it up again, it's gonna be plagiarism. WWE cage match. Last YACUBEAN standing lose match.
work? Yes, hello. I'm asking men what they do for a living out here. Are most people here?
What number?
Oh, just my name, Tyler. I'm just asking Hasidic Jews out here because I know.
No.
What do you mean?
People are not gonna answer you.
What do most men do here for work? Is it they study the Torah?
No, most people are working in Amazon like this.
CNN? No, I just have a YouTube channel. The mere presence of a goyim was sufficient to raise suspicion. Question for you: what do most men do for work here? Are they rabbis? This is working. What do they do? Because I'm trying to talk to people, just figure out what the main industry is.
A lot of.
Can you give me some ideas?
Oh, go outside.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to talk to folks like you, how you make your money and afford to raise your families.
Rolls.
What?
54 rolls.
But then I finally met this guy who gave me some wisdom.
Everything
people do.
What do you do for a living?
Billboards.
How long does the prayer last? And when do people go to work?
People go from 9 o'clock in the morning, from 6 o'clock in the morning until the night.
So how do they pay their bills?
How they pay the bills? By working.
Well, when do they work if they're praying all day?
They're not praying all day. So you have a lot of people coming in the morning and going into work, then coming back to pray. You have a lot of people coming in the morning to pray. They have people just waking up late.
I see.
From
Okay.
having a big community.
So you own a billboard company?
Yes.
How do people afford to have like 10 kids out here?
The community is based on this. So
So is it wealthy members of the community give charity?
yes, mostly. That's the way.
Are most people on Medicaid, SNAP, EBT? Let's be honest.
I don't know. I can't speak for other people.
What about you?
I'm not going to tell about myself.
Okay.
A lot of these folks have business there. Not all of them. Some of them.
But there's a lot of you guys, right?
Some of them are being supported by community members.
Okay. What's the big industry for women out here? Is it childcare? Because I notice Mexicans seem to work like retail, construction. Many men will tell me my wife works, but I do not.
That's not true.
That's what they told me, though. They themselves.
The first 2 years after they get married.
Okay.
Only the first 2 years.
Okay.
Then they go work. Most men.
Okay. All right. How many kids do you have? I'm going to guess you have 13. They all vote unanimously in favor for it. Look at this. There's a car accident every 5 seconds. Some of the driving out here is horrendous. It's truly terrible. What do the Jewish people here do for work, from what you've seen? Do they just pray or?
No. So yes, they pray every single day and they walk every single day after this.
After they pray, they go to work?
Yeah. They drive in a school bus and a transit bus.
Excuse me.
You ever wondered when the first Jewish ghettos were established in Europe? This topic takes us back to the Renaissance period, a time of significant change and development. The earliest Jewish ghetto was set up in Venice in the year 1516. This area was a walled and gated district where Jewish people were required to live, separate from the rest of the population. The term ghetto comes from the Venetian word ghetto, which referred to a nearby foundry site. In this Venetian ghetto, Jewish residents faced strict rules. They had to follow a nightly curfew, wear identifying badges or hats, and remainges within the district after the gates closed at sunset. This system of enforced separation became a model for other cities across Europe. Before the official ghetto system emerged in the 16th century, Jewish communities had already faced various forms of segregation and restrictions. However, the Venetian ghetto
I do not agree with that timeline. And if I were to say that I did agree with that timeline, during this phase of history, the so-called Jews would have been slaves at that time. I mean, if we're going to be exact with what's going on in history during this time frame, even if that's the right time frame. So, are you telling me that they're the first ones to live in a ghetto, a project style community like they're doing the people of Palestine, I would say, making them go through checkpoints and things of that nature, making them wear badges and signs also to get through checkpoints to get to the next part of town? Right now in real time, it's March 15th. Right now in real time, 2026, they were making them go through those checkpoints.
Last year they were going through checkpoints too. So it sounds like same thing. So why is there a role reversal in a lot of their stories? I'm reviewing these stories because it still all dates back to Epstein right now. It comes to Epstein right now. The YACUBEAN drop. WWE cage match. The last YACUBEAN standard rules.
Ghetto marked the first legally mandated Jewish quarter. The establishment of these ghettos was part of broader policies that limited Jewish rights, affecting their ability to own property, engage in commerce, and interact socially. This reshaped Jewish life and economic roles in European society. Fast forward to the era of World War II, and we see a revival of the ghetto system under the Nazi regime. Beginning in 1939, the Nazis established ghettos in occupied Eastern Europe, starting with the first one in Piotrkow Trybunalski, Poland. These ghettos were designed to forcibly concentrate Jewish populations under harsh conditions. The Warsaw Ghetto, created in 1940, became the largest, holding over 400,000 Jewish individuals in a confined area. Life in these ghettos was marked by forced labor, severe overcrowding, starvation, and constant violence. This represented a tragic phase in the systematic persecution and genocide of Jewish.
I'm gonna have to go with they have another sandwich story. So nobody was using the word ghetto for so many hundreds of years. So it was first being used in Venice, Italy, Venice. And now it's over in Germany, reawoken in the 1940s, late 1930s. So they go grab a word from Italy that nobody's using anymore in the 1900s, modern time. So this word hadn't been used since when? 400 years ago? Really? Nigga? And you just so happen to know what it means and you pick it up and now they're in Germany and you create. No, no, no. The story in the fucking earlier time don't exist. They just made this shit up in the 1940s. The sandwich story is to throw you off. Watch the chessboard. It's the same pieces. He only got so many moves, and if you were ahead of the game, you knew which one to pluck out next. Huh.
Jewish people during the Holocaust. In summary, the concept of Jewish ghettos began in Renaissance Italy as a form of segregation. However, the ghettos established during the Holocaust were a much darker and intensified version of this practice. They served as a tool for the Nazis' genocidal policies. Understanding this historical progression helps us see how the idea of ghettos evolved from restrictive urban districts to sites of immense suffering and loss during the Holocaust.
On the 19th of January, 1942, Shalom Ber Weiner, a Polish Nazi death camps. He told his story to Emanuel Ringelblum, a Jewish historian who made it the goal of his life to leave evidence of the Nazi crime unfolding against his community. Ringelblum and his team managed to collect almost 35,000 pages of documentation, essays, diaries, and posters from the ghetto with horrific stories like the one told by Ber Weiner. But for some, their dedication to collecting such evidence under the harshest conditions means nothing. Today, in A Day in History, we talk about Holocaust denial, the incredible effort to deny one of the most well-documented and carefully proven dark events in the history of mankind. The Holocaust denial is a conspiracy theory that started right after the end of World War II and was gradually canonized with a set of arguments.
Jews, because it is from this central location that Jews spread out all across Europe. Because in the same way that all the roads lead out, also all the roads lead to Rome. Now, I did cheat a little bit with that description because the ghetto was only established in 1555. But before that, Jews lived in this area of the city, dating back to around 150 BC. After the Roman Empire plundered parts of the Middle East, they took Jewish slaves and others who came here, and especially after the destruction of the Second Jewish Temple in 70 AD, which you can see here on the Arch of Titus in Rome, that scene, that's when there became an established Jewish community here in ancient Rome. And from there, Jews started to spread all across Europe. The entrance to the Templo Maggiore, the Grand Synagogue of Rome, which was established in 1904 after the ghetto was abolished at the end of the 20th century. So Jews could then live anywhere they wanted throughout the city, where people still pray, and there is a tremendous security presence here. Everywhere I see these security boxes. Obviously, there's a security concern here for the community. And here's my friend Salvatore. He's come here to show me the local perspective.
Not your guy, but
How's it going, man? Good to see you. So this is Salvatore.
Nice to meet you.
He's an amateur actor.
No, actor, no, I'm teacher.
Teacher, but he played a mafioso in an Italian TV show.
In the past.
And how did they kill you?
And they kill you?
How did they kill you in the...
Yes, in the past time kill me.
How?
Yes. How?
With a gun?
With a gun, yes.
With a gun?
Near the mountain in the Sicily.
It was dramatic, like, it went down.
Then I see the photo. Anyway.
So how's it going, man?
How are you? Fine?
I'm good. I've already been walking around here a bit.
Yes.
Ghetto di Roma, and I want to show you something because I saw something here written in Italian, and maybe you can help me translate.
Okay. I translate in English? oh my God. People don't speak English very well.
He's scared now that he doesn't know. But actually, I can tell already what it is, because basically it says here, Ashraf El-Ayrami, who's a Palestinian, and Benjamin Utland, who's an Israeli. And then there's a letter here that's in Italian, basically calling for peace, for some type of end to the war. I understand.
You understand?
It says, Mai fin violenza guerra.
Okay. Okay.
Peace, shalom, end the war, right? Something like this.
Yes, but there is the history of the ghetto.
Okay.
16 October 1943, here, coming the Kacha. I don't know.
Catch the Jews, catch them.
Can't catch them.
The Nazis come to catch the Jews.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a museum here also about how the Nazis came to the ghetto in 1943 and emptied it out of all its Jews to take them to the concentration camps. They have all the restaurants this way. This place is very fancy now, huh?
Yes,
very
but
fancy.
The best food in the restaurant is the artichokes carciofo.
Yeah.
Carciofo in English is?
It's an artichoke.
Artichoke.
But it's, from what I understand, it's like a Jewish Roman food or something like this.
Yes.
I don't know, Salvatore, it looks expensive here.
Okay, yes, too many expensive here.
You buy one meal, then you'll need 20,000 views to pay back the meal minimum. There's a flag of Israel.
Okay.
I'm just saying, you see the flag?
Okay.
And kosher food, see? Kosher food they have here.
Yeah. There is an artist.
Yeah.
And he's an artist with the Jewish alphabet.
Okay.
I'll show you.
The Hebrew Letters Art Gallery.
It's funny person.
Word that's thrown around quite casually in modern times, but its roots lie in a dark and somber history. The term ghetto can trace its lineage back to the Middle Ages, when it was used to describe specific areas in European cities. These weren't just any areas, but places where Jewish communities were forcibly confined, segregated, and restricted in their movements and activities. Among the first ghettos to emerge was the Venetian ghetto in Italy. Established in 1516, it confined Jewish residents to a designated area known as the Ghetto Nuovo. This area was surrounded by canals and gates that were locked at night, creating a physical and symbolic barrier between the Jewish community and the rest of Venice. But within these constraints, the Venetian ghetto flourished as a center of Jewish culture, commerce, and religious life. A little under 40 years later, in 1555, Pope Paul IV established the Roman ghetto with the papal bull Cum Nimis Absurdum. Jewish residents were herded into a walled-off area near the Tiber River, living under various restrictions and discriminatory laws. This Roman ghetto remained until the mid-19th century, when the Papal States dissolved. In Frankfurt, Germany, the Frankfurt Ghetto came into existence in the 16th century, following a series of anti-Jewish riots and expulsions. The Jewish community was confined to a specific neighborhood known as the Judengasse, or Jews' Alley, surrounded by walls and gates. This ghetto persisted until the early 19th century, gradually abolished by Jewish emancipation laws. In 1495, one of the oldest Jewish ghettos in Europe was established in Krakow, Poland. Jewish residents were confined to the Kazimierz district, living under discriminatory laws and regulations. The Krakow ghetto's size fluctuated over the centuries, responding to the political and social climate of the times. These early ghettos served as mechanisms of social control and segregation, reflecting widespread anti-Semitic attitudes and policies in European societies. They symbolize a dark chapter in history, marking the persecution and marginalization of Jewish populations in Europe. However, within these oppressive conditions, Jewish communities found ways to thrive. They developed vibrant cultural, religious, and economic life, demonstrating resilience in the face of adversity. So the term ghetto, while casually used today, has a rich and complex history, a testament to the strength of communities that have faced and continue to face discrimination and segregation. Remember, words carry the weight of their history, and understanding that history is key to appreciating their full meaning.
The war broke out on September 1st, 1939. This followed the secret pact that was signed by the Third Reich and the Soviet Union, the so-called Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact of non-aggression, which essentially allowed Germany and Russia to invade Poland and the Baltic states from either side and to divide it between them. We're going to focus our remarks on the region that was conquered first by the Germans, and then later on in the next video, we'll discuss a little bit the nature of the 2 years that Jews experienced under Soviets. The first encounter that the Jews of Poland and the Baltics in particular had with Third Reich soldiers was primarily through these ritual humiliations that they endured, often photographed and sent home to relatives and loved ones back in Germany. But it did not seem clear that the Nazis really had a solid plan for what they were going to do with the Jews of Eastern Europe. While the Nazis had planned in advance their military advance into Poland, it does not seem that they had clearly thought out what they were going to do with the Jewish population, more than 3 million of whom lived in Poland itself. But it seemed clear that they certainly wanted to expel them from the regions that immediately bordered Germany. So they created this section called the General Government, here shown in Polish. It's the green area. It was expanded after 1941 to include the Galicia district towards the bottom right of this map. At any rate, it seems that they pushed a lot of Jews into this general government in particular. And for Jews throughout the region, they began to collect them in ghettos. Now, the politics of ghettos was hotly debated among the Nazis. There were actually many voices that suggested that ghettos were not a good idea, that it would increase disease, that it would allow for greater possibilities of resistance and so on. But ultimately, a network of ghettos was established throughout the region that the Nazis had conquered. Some of those ghettos were closed, that is, they were sealed up with walls that were frequently created by the Jews themselves at Nazi orders. Other ghettos were technically open, that is, Jews could simply walk out of them, but then they would be exposed to the local population, which would frequently denounce them, blackmailing them for funds, and often they were at severe risk of being murdered by Nazi soldiers. The organization of the ghetto, however, was extremely important. When the Nazis came into the regions that they took over, they frequently went to the legitimate authorities that represented the Jewish community prior to the war, and they would go to essentially the president of the Kehillah or the federation, to use a modern term, and they would say, all right, we would like the following things from the community now, a list of names and addresses and so on. We would like to requisition funds and any valuables and so on. And typically, the leaders of the Kehillah, the local Jewish elected leaders, would refuse, and they would be shot on the spot. The Nazis would then turn to a second generation, like vice presidents and treasurers, and put the same demands to them. If they refused, they would also be shot. And at some point, they would eventually get a local Jewish leadership, which they called the Judenrat, or the Jewish Council. And the Jewish Council ended up becoming kind of like the go-between of the Nazi demands on the Jewish population, right up until the ultimate destruction of the ghetto itself. Some of those Judenrat leaders were really quite heroic in their attempts to protect the Jews. Adam Czerniaku, shown here, who was the leader of the Judenrat in Warsaw, he left behind a diary in which he meticulously related the weather and a lot of his personal concerns. He was very worried about the fate of his son, who was missing, and so on. But he describes in excruciating detail the slowly compressing fist that the Nazis held around the Jewish population, and the way in which he tried to appease
Eight former students who attended the prestigious school during Mr. Epstein's short tenure